Hey Divine Stardust, it's Andye Murphy, host of your Cosmic Mama podcast. And today on episode 67, Morgan Garza! I say it sometimes where you can't even understand it because I get so excited, but Morgan is a very dear friend of mine. And sometimes it just feels like I bring on the people that I love, because I do, because I want to share them with you, because I know extraordinary people doing extraordinary things. Morgan Garza, you might know, she's done a podcast. She had led the Cosmic Collective with thousands of members across the world. She's now part of Saged and leading the way of the witch. Or maybe you know her book? Morgan Garza. We get into some really sweet things today, but before I was sitting down to record this with her, the thing that kept coming through was her resilience. And so you'll hear inside some things that could be a little bit triggering about the traumas that we live, specifically about Morgan's experience in India during an attack in 2008. Take care of yourself in whatever way you need, but all of us will survive things that we really wish we didn't have to go through at all. And in doing so, we find pieces of ourselves that deepen and that add to this puzzle and this mystery that is life. And through these experiences, well, there is nobody like her on this planet. So do what we do, light a bowl, light a joint, light a candle. Allow yourself to move out of the mundane and into the sacred in the Cosmic Mama podcast. And y'all, I have one of my favorite people here today. And as I've thought about, Morgan and do you know that I've had Morgan drafted as a guest for ever since the podcast has existed, I've been like, we have to talk. But one of the things I want to talk about today is resilience. Because Morgan Garza, more than anybody else in the whole fucking world, you seem to have this energy to just be like, yeah. So I want to get into that. We're going to open up some sacred space first. And all that I will say is that my drum right now is my bestie. And I can't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. I'll also tell you that whenever I'm around Morgan, both of us get brighter. So we have a pretty good little love affair. Like that. Oh. So wherever you are and whoever you are today, give it permission to be even sweeter. As we step out of the everyday and into the extraordinary, taking this time for you to receive exactly what you need. And laying down with a triumphant fuck you to anything you're tired of carrying. Triumphant, I say. Letting that breath deepen and letting more of your soul embody its home. That's you. Ooh. Yeah. I really can't stop with the drum lately. It's I don't think I've ever participated with it quite that way. Do you remember the first time we met?
Yeah, I do. I walked into your office.
That was okay. I didn't, and I was like, shit. Um, Thanks for remembering for us. It was in a session then?
Kendra, yeah, it was a session. Kendra had your card and she and I were hanging out and your logo was there and I was like, damn, this is dope. Like, what is this? She was like, oh, you don't know, as if like
Yeah.
you're just known. And I was like, no. She's like, oh, this is Andye Murphy. You need to go in for a session for her, and was just talking you up. And I was like, sold, done, and done.
Huh. So it wasn't spirit guides. It was like you on your very own, and I love that.
Well, that was the initiation into spirit guides because I had that reading with you, and then I was like, okay, like you have to come on to all of these things that we're doing.
All of the things.
Mhm.
I love that you remember that. Thank you. I'm sorry that I
Yeah, it's
don't.
okay. You always tell me that you don't remember readings anyway, so it was probably just one of those like, whoop whoop.
Yeah, no, it's true. I'm too much in a channeled state, but so Morgan, in case y'all don't know, she is currently the badass witch over at Saged. Am I allowed to say badass, or are we over
You
badass
are.
already?
Oh, I'm a fucking badass witch. if you
Yeah,
want to be correct about it.
the fucking badass witch that is Morgan Garza. Um, because I know you very well, if there's any places that we go where you're like, happy to honor that, and we can always edit. But would you talk to us first about your awakening process?
Yes. So my awakening process
Hold on.
began, as many people's do, with catastrophe. And I think I was always very spiritual. I was a baby witch, always very in tune, very sensitive. But it wasn't until I was 22, working my first job in fashion, and went to India to sample our fall line, look at fabrics, the normal things that you do
The normal things one does in fashion.
at 22. And I was involved in a terrorist attack in Mumbai, India in 2008. And it was the most horrific attack on Indian soil in modern times. And I just happened to be swirled up in the middle of it, running for my life, hearing bombs explode, hearing the most horrific things, not knowing what was going to happen, truly having one moment where everything kind of came together that I was like, I might die. But I
What are
didn't.
thoughts in that moment that you might die?
It was silent. I mean, it wasn't like people say that like your life flashes before your eyes or you have all of these thoughts. It was like, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. And I wasn't I wasn't thinking about anybody or anything. I was just radically present and unable to be anywhere else but where I was. That's interesting. No one's ever asked me that, and I've never actually thought about that.
Well, and thank you. So whenever I said, things that you may not want to talk about, this is kind of what I was going to, because in
Yeah.
2020, as you were defrosting from it and having maybe some of the memories and maybe some of the like you were processing it differently. So I've
Mhm.
heard pieces of it, but you're talking about it now in a way as if it's like in the past and not still in the trauma. So I want to
Well, that's the thing.
celebrate
Like,
that too.
yeah, thank you. Thank you. That was a journey. It was at the 10-year anniversary in 2018 that I had a complete breakdown. I was like, holy shit, like I've never touched this. I'm here trying to be this, leader in the community, and I'm not even handling my own shit. And so I finally had this breakdown where I was like, I have to look at this. And I had never written about it.
Have you
And
now?
I'm a writer. I have, yeah.
Okay, good.
Not like for the public.
Okay. No,
I guess
I'm
it's on,
waiting for that piece too because I know it's going to be epic.
yeah. I mean, I guess it's on like my personal blog, my website, but that was more cathartic than anything. But yeah, then I wrote about it and I just started talking about it more. I mean, it was this thing that I really kept quiet about until I got drunk enough to actually go there, and with the people that to me that I
Um,
felt like I could become that vulnerable.
and because it was in a trauma state, then it was that unspoken,
Yeah,
unhealed, unaddressed.
unhealed,
Okay.
unaddressed. I was 22, I had FBI mandated therapy
Wait,
that
I'm
was
sorry. FBI mandated?
mhm.
Okay. Did we say badass? Did we say the fucking badass? I don't know anybody else who has FBI mandated therapy.
It
Um,
wasn't fun. I wouldn't recommend it.
was it with a regular therapist?
No, it was like with some B from the FBI who just came and sat next to me at work and like observed me. And then we had multiple sessions where she just asked me all of these questions. Like it was not helpful. But I think they were more checking a box because I was an American involved in this
Okay.
international thing. And for years, I mean, I'm talking years, I would get packets from the court proceedings about what was happening and all of these other
Wow.
things. And my parents tell the story. I don't remember this. I would think I was in such a trauma state when I first got back to the States, but they tell the story that the FBI came to my house and knocked on the door and wanted to ask me questions. And I was just like, fuck you, like, get out of here. Like, what else do you need from me? Like, I have no information for you. Um,
So they
and
weren't really there for you. They were there
no,
because you could be a liability or you harming yourself could be.
or I had information that could help them in
Okay.
whatever it was that they were doing, but I didn't. And I love that when my mom tells this story, she just gets so happy. And then
Oh,
I
sure, just peacocking for you. Mhm.
and I'm like, I wish I remembered that. I just blacked it out. But um, yeah, it wasn't until the 10-year anniversary that I really
Thawed.
looked at it
Okay.
and
And
gave it the energy it needed.
I'm going to go back because we want to hear your awakening. And the question that I asked was around what you were thinking. And I love that the stillness and the silence, I think, is what you just said. That there was it almost a peace underneath the panic?
Um, maybe it wasn't like
I think we
I
should do
mean, we
mushrooms and
were
go back and check in.
I would like that. It
Okay, great.
wasn't like there were options. I mean, we were all backed into a corner and it was coming from the front. So there was nowhere to be or go. And
Okay.
so it wasn't like I was strategizing an escape. It was like a mass fear of people gathered in one place and we were all just bracing. I mean, it was horrific. People were soiling themselves, breaking down, crying, and I was just silent. I mean, I was 22,
I know.
like baby.
And, really, I don't think you've probably been naive much in your life, but what I want to say is like invincible, right? Like meeting that invincibility, meeting the uh, kind of top of your game. If like you are in India and fashion is what you want to do, like you're fucking there, you've got it. And for that to be the reality of it.
Well, and the preceding reality was this is not the life that I want to be living. And you really learn who you are in a moment like that. And I fought. I mean, there were moments later when we were all running down the street and there were shots being fired behind us that people were falling and then people were smashing my boss who was 2 decades my senior against a wall and she couldn't breathe and she was the one hyperventilating and freaking out and here I am a baby pulling people off her and I was just this warrior that I didn't expect, that I didn't know. I was very passive up until this point in my life. I was very naive, very disconnected from my power.
Huh.
And this was one of those moments where I was like, oh, I touched it, I felt it, and I acted in it. I was like, holy shit, what else am I capable of? And I knew that I was meant to experience this and survive it. And so that's when I really started, like, not so cliche, like looking for the meaning of life, but really just exploring in a deep way the
Mhm.
existence that I had just taken for granted
Can
previously.
I go a little deeper on this? Who's the Morgan that
Yeah.
died that day?
The innocent one. After that, I was no longer a passenger in my life. And I took the steering wheel. I turned off the fucking GPS because I was like, don't tell me what to do. And that's when my internal compass really kicked in. And I was like, I've always known. I've always fucking known. I've just never listened and I've surely never acted. And yeah, that little girl who really pretended like she didn't know anything because she thought it was cute was like, I fucking know. And I always have. And like, here I am.
Fuck yeah. Sorry that I'm getting a little emotional. I just love you so damn much that
I'm like shaking.
are you? I
It's
wish I could be there to
okay.
hold your hands.
Okay. Good. It's good to talk about this. I mean, I need it. I think other people need to hear that with all of the traumatic things that are happening in our country these days, with so many shootings and so many public displays of sheer
Hatred?
violence.
Yeah.
Yeah, that we are all living in some way with this same sense of PTSD, of fear of experiencing something that you can't explain.
Well,
And
and
my experience is unique only in the sense that it was labeled a terrorist attack in another country, but it's very similar to what we're experiencing on a near daily basis in the United States.
I mean, daily, even in Denver, given yesterday's actions.
And yeah, and babies in schools. I mean, this is unfortunately not a unique story anymore.
Mm. Maybe, but because it's yours and because the
Well, yeah, in
resilience,
that sense.
you became somebody else. So that wakes you up to your power. Is there a Reiki piece that comes in after that too?
Yeah, so when I got back, I was a hot mess. Night terrors, extreme survivor's guilt, just like didn't understand why so many had to go and I was spared and,
How many
had
did
this
perish?
300 something.
Oh, I don't know
Mhm.
that, Marks.
In many different locations. It was all over the city of Mumbai. I just happened to be in one of the locations and
And they were
I was
targeting Americans?
no, it didn't seem that way. No, it was a train station, it was a popular market, it was a restaurant, it was the hotel that I was staying at, the hotel that I was having dinner at, two different hotels. It was all over. I think it was just mass terror. But when I came home, I tried acupuncture, I tried therapy, I was doing all of these different things to try to get back, right? To try to overcome
Mm.
and um, not feel the way that I was feeling, which was honestly numb.
That's what
And
I was wondering. It doesn't sound like you were numbing. It sounds like you were numb and trying to find a way to come out of it then.
yeah, I was numb. I was silent. I wasn't talking to anybody. I didn't want to see anyone. The only time that I did actually feel alive was when I was having nightmares. But then my mom had been working with this massage therapist who was a friend, and she was like, bring her in. I do Reiki, having no clue what this was. I lay on the table. She talks to me for like 30 minutes before, of course. I lay on the table. She puts this blanket over me, and then she just starts doing it. And I was like, this is some bullshit. She's not even touching me. Like, she's just like waving her hands around me. So I would like try to peek and see if I could find like if I was right where she was, if I was feeling it. And I was like, oh, okay. So I knew she was on my knee. And then I would close my eyes again and see if I could feel where she was. And so I was like connecting with her energy and like feeling it physically. So I was like, okay, but still like, we'll see. Like, we'll see what this does. Went to bed. It was just like relaxing, went to sleep, woke up the next morning and I was like, bum, bum, like, let's go. I love the day. Look how beautiful it is. And I was like, holy shit, like, what was that? And so I started researching energy and spirituality, and that just really put me into this rabbit hole of there's so much that we don't understand. There's so much more out there than I've ever been connected to. I was raised very religious, so there was no
Oh, wait,
curiosity
Catholic?
outside of that. Hmm.
Oh, I don't know that. Okay.
Oh yeah,
See
church
how
every day,
revealing this is
baptized
already? We're
Catholic.
only like 8 minutes in. Thanks. This
I
is great.
know.
Thanks.
Yeah, so that was my only experience in spirituality, which really, isn't. So it was a whole new world for me, and I started realizing what was possible, what we were as humans were capable of, what I was capable of as me. Like I had changed. I mean, I flipped my coin over, and there was no going back. There was my life is before India and after, and that really catapulted me into spirituality as a whole, but more so different modalities and what curiosities we could apply to reality, and make it more palpable and not just so basic.
So,
Like,
how far along into it does spirit guides become the thing?
oh, not for another decade. Yeah.
That long. Okay.
So this was all 2008. Well, it happened Thanksgiving 2008, so end of November. So I didn't start doing all of this until the beginning of 2009. I mean, it was months until I got Reiki, maybe 3 or 4.
Okay.
Um, and then well, I got fired from the job that took me to India, funnily enough. It was a recession. We all got fired.
Oh, shit. I
And
kind of forget that that's the timing of things too. Okay.
yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
So, yeah, got fired from that job, started working at a skate shop and then at like a front desk at a hair salon, and then went
Wait,
back
I don't
to the
know a skate
job.
shop.
Are
I
you kidding
fucking
me?
love
Girl,
you.
I know my way around a skateboard. I could get you a whole new deck, bearings, the whole thing.
I love
Maybe.
that.
But yeah, it wasn't for another 9 years that spirit guides started percolating in 2016 and then hit the market in 2017.
Wow.
But during that time, I traveled a lot. I went to Central America for 4 months. I moved to Spain for almost 2 years. Like there was this insatiable desire to discover in that time. And that really kept me away from things that didn't light me up job wise and really guided me towards having more purpose in how I spent my days and how I made my money.
Are you scared of death?
No,
Fuck me. Seriously? Like, you've been right there with it, and so the rest of it is just like, whatever.
I don't want to go. I'm not ready,
Yeah, no,
but I'm
that
not
wasn't the question, but
afraid.
that was just an
Yeah,
interesting,
no,
huh?
I'm not. I'm not. And I don't know if it's because of India. I don't know if it's because I've worked with so many mediums over the years and gotten very clear tastes of the other
Oh, okay.
side.
Yeah, let's fucking go there. I love that I have like a little outline here, but you've worked with mediums in a way. You want to talk to me about evidential mediumship? Because that shit, I'm like, what in the world? Do you have some firsthand experiences of? Wait, hold on. Hold on. Am I going to make you shake more? I'm not trying to make you shake more.
No. I do have experiences in that. And that was weird. That was weird. That was weird.
So evidential mediumship, to the best of what I know, is not only trying to prove it, but there's a substance, an ectoplasm type of thing. There's a vomiting type of thing that occurs that is.
There's indescribable physical movements. There's strapping to chairs, and then things are changed without the straps ever being moved. I'm skeptical on this. I did experience it firsthand, but it was a little bit hokey. And I say that in the sense that maybe it's my skepticism getting in the way of me being like, this is totally true, because mediumship in itself, I mean, I have
Is real.
experienced,
Yeah.
yeah, undeniable things that they shouldn't know. There's
Yep.
no way of them knowing. However, this evidential mediumship and the ectoplasm and the whole experience in itself just felt kind of like a carnival.
Okay.
It was just a little hokey.
Yep. I've never experienced it directly, but I have no desire to. Let me just say that. I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be around that. I don't think I need anything oozing out of me. No, thank you.
No, no, yeah, that was not my favorite, but
Do you have a favorite experience in mediumship?
I think my first, just because it was
Okay.
so profound and it validated a lot of things that I already knew and brought solace to some unhealed
Um,
open wounds.
and when we say mediumship here, for anybody who may not know, this is going to be directly speaking to those on the other side, mediumship.
Yes,
Okay, thanks.
correct.
Because James Van Prague always had a very interesting understanding where he's like, it's not just dead people and it's not just the other side. In his understanding and explanation, mediumship was like being a vessel, so even spirits could come in and talk. So I think for me, I can talk to dead people. I don't choose to, put that at the forefront of what I do. So I think I tried to find a way that when I was called a medium, it made more sense for me.
I have experienced mediumship that wasn't dead people, that was talking to spirits, talking to a galactic coven. I forget what she called it exactly, but
Wait,
it was
what?
her
Huh?
like board of directors.
Okay. Huh.
And that was profound. That was incredibly profound. That was the kind of channeling that I have never witnessed, but I had always read about and heard about. And on my previous podcast, had people come on that would talk about it, but I had never seen it firsthand. And I mean, the cadence of her voice changed, the pitch of her voice changed, just everything.
Oh, so she was channeling other beings from a
Mhm.
galactic federation
It
stance.
was, yeah,
Okay.
it was very much Many Lives Been Masters when he gets beyond her own shit and starts talking to that other being, where it's just this profound message for humanity about love and loss and fear and grief and purpose and joy and all of this um, things that we make Instagram quotes about. You know?
Extract the sound clip here. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah, not medium in the sense of dead people, but medium in the sense that this is the channel, a bridge between the two worlds.
Fuck yeah. Yeah.
It changes you. It just changes you. I mean, for a time, and then you kind of,
Settle back in.
the
Yeah.
sparkle fades a little bit, and then you get back into paying bills and living life and all of the 3D human things that we are here for. But yeah, that'll change you.
Um, the podcast that you had, I don't know how many episodes y'all had. If anyone's looking, you
100
can't find
something.
it, so good luck with that.
Good luck.
But I think I've always been in awe of the front row seat that you've had to all of it, to whatever the fuck you want, to whatever you're curious about, to like, Kyle Gray. Did you ever get Kyle Gray on the podcast? I remember he
Again,
won one year, and I was like, what the fuck? He responded? I was so excited
yeah.
about that.
Yeah, that was a pretty special conversation. He was super rad, very humble, very kind. I mean, he has like a million books, a million
Mhm.
Oracle decks to go along with them. Yeah, that was a great conversation. I think one of my favorite episodes was with the heart math guys that talk about, the measuring of the heart and how to work with it. And I went to bed that night making my heart beat faster and slower with my mind. And that was one of the coolest things. I am very interested in science. I'm a super nerd. I always want to see that side of it, as much as I can be woo-woo. I'm also like, all right, let's get into some data on this and prove it
Well,
to me.
it's
But
your
yeah,
Taurus,
that was
right? Like I love that there like needs to be like something, and I don't think it's that you proof that you seek, and I don't experience you to be terribly skeptical, but I think you want to understand like the
yeah,
true
I want to
earthy grit
understand
underneath
it.
it.
Yeah, which is why I think the evidential mediumship, I was like, all right,
I don't want to touch
I'm
it.
good.
Thanks.
I'm good. Yeah, no,
um,
let's stick me.
I was reading last night that a cat purring on you can stave off heart attacks. And that people who have heart issues, like the cat's purr and that specific frequency. So I haven't done a ton with heart math. I think lately I can say the torus field of the heart is becoming so much more significant. I think that's not just for me. I think that's kind of planetarily. I think we're coming into new spaces of love that are needing to be experiential and not just like I love everybody. No, like there's this whole different frequency that's coming in. So heart math, cool.
Yeah, very cool. I read that about cats too. I mean, animals in general lower blood pressure and just improve everything, joy, cure depression. I mean, there's something about having that unconditional love attached to something that's really cute and furry and soft that is just an antidote for the perils that we experience as
Hoot
humans.
had a wound this week, and even watching that, like how affected I was by it, because I'm a fairly new pet owner. Within last 5 years of my life, I've had pets, and never before that. So whenever Hoot is injured, like psychically and empathetically, I can feel her, and I'm like, motherfucker, this is a lot. This to love something this much, this is a lot. Whenever she's hurting, it's goofy.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't even imagine children, but I feel the same thing with Cooper. Like, I have heart explosions all day just being around him.
Well, the beautiful thing about teenagers right now, at least mine, like the biggest trouble she's getting into, Morgan, thanks be the gods, drawing penises all over herself. Like that's
She's doing it to herself.
oh yeah, that's
Usually you get asked to join the Pen 15 club and then you end up with a dick on your hand.
nope. Nope, this is all hers. All hers. Um
Well, she's a special one.
I single child during spring break. Like what do you do? What do you do? You break out all of the Sharpies of different colors. Can we talk about The Way of the Witch, please?
Yes.
Mm.
We had our closing ceremony last night.
How'd it go?
It was amazing. It was amazing. So
FYI, we are
it's
right today at the 23rd of March. And so, for any of you who have lived this with us, we have had an equinox this week. We have had an Aries this week. Like, it has been this smorgasbord of galactic events that are just like moving things.
change. Everything is just shifted this week. I mean, like Pluto shift, Saturn shift. I mean, all of these planets
Neptune
that
isn't there. I don't know.
there's a Neptune aspect happening. Everybody's
Yes.
just on the move right now. But yeah, so we had our closing ceremony for Way of the Witch last night. We did an egg Olympia where you take an egg and
Oh,
put it all over your body and bring out the mal de ojo, the evil eye. I still have my little eggshells here with my flowers in
do you
them.
crack it afterwards? I don't know how to do Olympia.
Yeah, so I threw my cup away because you're supposed to put that shit down the toilet. But so you take the egg and you just kind of like, put it over with the intention of bringing anything, any malintent, any blockages, physical illness, gossip, like things like that out of you. Crack it into a cup, and then it's like divination. It's kind of like tea leaf reading. So you read the oak, the yolk,
Read the
you
oak.
read the oak, you read just the things that happen after it goes into the water. And there's this whole guide to discover what everything means. And it's pretty cool. It's
Okay,
very,
I think I might do that tonight. Morgan and I loosely had plans tonight, and then we got on the call today. We're like, yeah,
I don't
not
want
feeling
to.
it. Which also, as a friend and as one who is fairly fickle, like my energy has to match. Thanks for loving me so much that you just know that it's never it's never about you. It's always about me.
Yeah. To be honest, I completely forgot about it. And you were like, I'm not going. And I was like, oh, yeah, no, me neither.
Woo! So I have space now in my evening to do Olympia, and that sounds amazing. But as you have embraced witch, I think for me, I don't resonate with witch. I get it, but this is kind of the conversation I would love us to get into is why was witch the thing?
For me,
Uh-huh.
I didn't have a choice. Did you?
Cute. Okay.
Did you have a choice?
I don't consider myself a witch, so yeah, I
I
think I
mean,
can.
to be whatever it is that you identify as,
Oh
it
no, I
should
have no
be.
choice in
I'm not
that,
sure what
but
you are today, but
yeah, I'm not sure what I am today. We're in all this Aries. Who knows what I am today?
it's changing. Yeah, no, I didn't have a choice. It just became. That's not a very exciting story. I'm sorry.
Um, I think you've already delivered exciting. It's okay. I think I can guide us into what I'm really trying to ask. Because when you were talking about bringing to Saged, the way of the witch, I was perplexed. And I was like, witch, huh? Huh, that's where we're going with this. So, in that reclamation, I think I want to hear some of that story, please.
I think it was mostly just this is what I've always done and for myself, and let's take it to the masses. I mean, it was an iteration on my first membership community, the Cosmic Collective, where we brought people in, and so had all of these interesting conversations and did rituals and live classes and had this whole experience. And I really wanted this to be deeper and to have more of a structure in the sense that we are structured by nature, and I wanted this to reflect that. And so the wheel of the year is at the center of what Way of the Witch embodies. And our first season was winter, and we ended on the spring equinox. And so I really was interested in what can happen when we flow with nature and when we really move into these spaces where we're mirroring what's happening outside and, saying fuck you to this January 1st New Year and all of this
You have been
golden
such a
grind.
fucking rebel in that. And I love because
It.
even around January 1st, you're like, this is not my new year. This is not how we do it. Like, fuck all that.
No, this is not my
I
beginning.
appreciate
I
that.
begin in spring. And that's not just because my birthday's in May and that's when I truly feel personally renewed. It just doesn't make fucking sense. Like the winter solstice was what, not even a week or just over a week before January 1st. And that's the first day of winter. And we're supposed to begin anew and start all of these fresh
Mm-mm.
things when we're moving into the slowest, deepest, darkest time of year, it doesn't make fucking sense. And that's just going to set people up for disappointment, failure in themselves. And then they're going to be hard on themselves because they're like, I set all of these resolutions at the beginning of the year and then had 3 months of zero energy to get started on them. And then you get hard on yourself, and then you have all this negative self-talk, and then you really get into this space of like, I am shit, and I am not capable of anything because I can never follow through on these resolutions. It's like, fuck that. Like,
so how did you lead your coven then through that time of winter?
We did shadow work. We did a death ceremony. We wrote down, here lies this version of myself that I am no longer giving life to. We played with fire. We danced in the darkness and became unafraid of what was there.
Can y'all tell that Morgan's a writer? Because it's just eloquent without you even needing to try.
I need to transcribe this for the Way of the Witch sales page.
No, happily. Yeah, we could. I'm sure there's some app that I can just like click and it will get you some good words.
Yeah, so it was deep, it was dark, it was hard. It was not fun. I mean, I am 3 months out of having made abdominal surgery from December, and so I was in it. And it was really,
where do you find the energy to lead when you're in it like that?
I think if I didn't, I would just wallow and I would not come out of it. And so, and I asked myself this multiple, I mean, there were times leading 10 minutes before the ceremony where I was like, how am I going to do this? But it gave me so much joy to go into that space and to get out of all of these things that I'm feeling, this grief, this joy, this pain, this just uncertainty, that when I was in that space, it didn't matter. And I was just there. I was there for the coven. I was there for myself. I witnessed people being there for each other. We made magic. We laughed. We cried. We were in it together, and people were sharing what they were going through too. So it was very collective, this dark night of the soul. So it felt easy.
And the community in that way, like, it gives back, right? In that same, it's still that heart math, it's still that toroidal field. Being able to show up in that, even when you don't have the energy, there's an energy that's held by the group. What I'm always impressed by with you is that you have this ease that I don't. So in my experience, at times, I'm like, I'm trying to get to that thing, especially if it's a nighttime thing, like, I don't want to fucking host ceremonies at night. It's not my sweet spot. So like trying to like hold the energy all day long for it is a lot on my body. And you just kind of like bop right into it as if there's no fucking issue at all. I'm like, good God, that looks awesome.
Well, nighttime is my time. Like when the sun goes down, I turn on to my, there's nothing I can do about it.
Okay. I think I used
9 p.m. I'm like, I mean, I did go to bed at 9 p.m. last night after the ceremony, but normally the hours between 7 and 11 are when I'm at my peak.
Amazing. I used to.
I don't know why. It's always been like that.
It's been changing for me in ways that, I've also got easily a decade plus on you, 15 years. I don't know. There's some experience and wisdom here that you haven't gotten yet. So the next Way of the Witch starts when?
April 5th, and we'll be doing all spring magic until the summer solstice. So fire, action, heat, just wild shit.
And are you consciously cultivating it, or is it in that way that it's coming to you and kind of flowing through you?
I mean, I have a loose structure, but I'm not good with having a lot of things planned before. I'll like have the skeleton, and the bones laid out and be like, okay, this is the general direction that I want to go in. But while I'm in it, I mean, I don't write anything down. I don't plan my meditations. It's just like something that happens in the moment. I could probably bring a little more structure to my situation, but also why?
Yeah, no, I like the way you flow, Morgan.
It's just easier that way. Cause like if I plan something for the final coven meeting now, I don't know how I'm going to feel. I don't know how the coven's going to feel. I don't know what we're going to have experienced collectively between now and then. That might not be appropriate.
Yeah.
So I'm more of a fly by the seat of my pants in a conscious
Yeah, I
way.
don't know that it's flying. I think it's what I experience with you is there's so much trust in it. And
Yeah,
there's like an
I
ease
don't
in it.
worry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is trust.
Telegram, I think, is how y'all were gathering. How was that?
Yeah, it's fine. I
Yeah.
mean, none of those messaging apps are really my favorite. It's when we're all on live on Zoom
Mhm.
that the real magic happens. But it's nice to stay in touch in between coven meetings just to share what's happened or, this crazy thing or the connection is beautiful to witness between the witches too. And these
Because
are witches of all people, genders
yep.
and
Because I think
nationalities.
we're all we're all seeking new ways of being in community, and maybe it's not new ways, but we're seeking ways that, for us with La Rosa, there was an idea to go on Facebook and have a Facebook group, and I'm like, I don't want to be on fucking Facebook. So I
Yeah.
think, especially, well, thank you. As I say this, they're like, well, we're also connecting psychically in very different ways than we have in a while. And so at some
Mhm.
point, we're not even going to need these apps anymore because we'll just be doing it telepathically and being able to connect in with each other differently. Hmm.
Yeah, I'm excited for those times. Telegram drives me crazy. I don't want another thing
No.
to manage, but we have to have something, and it's better than Facebook and better than a lot of the other things out there. And people, for some reason, really enjoy like the encryption. I don't know. They don't want people to see our rituals or their tarot card pool that they're sharing. Like, I don't know, whatever. Give the people what they want, right?
It's cute. And I'm like, is there anything really encrypted though? Like, what am I even looking at now? Now my Google search comes up saying that even the search is encrypted. I'm like, you motherfuckers, like you're just putting AI filter. Sorry. Uh-huh.
Yeah. 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 I don't know. It doesn't bother me. Like, whatever.
Um, you've written one book that has done amazingly well. Where's your red? Wait, come on. Is it really red? Oh, shut
Yeah.
your.
Have a nice snack.
I love you. uh-huh, uh-huh. What is in the hopper right now for writing projects for you?
I wish I had something to tell you. I don't.
Okay. Yeah, no, I
There
wasn't
was a
sure.
time that I had grand plans for a second book, sent out some concepts and some proposals, loose proposals
Yep.
to my publisher and other contacts that I had in the publishing industry. And it just wasn't time. I don't think I was ready for that. I
Okay.
was experiencing so much of it. And it's like, write what you know, but I was in it. And I think
Yeah.
the perspective of being out of it would be great. But I don't even know that I want to write about that anymore. Like, I don't know. I'm at this interesting place where in my career, I have an assistant who writes, and
Yes.
I'm not doing as much writing as I would like. And so I've gotten to this place where I'm directing the writing, but I'm not doing the writing, which is great.
Yep.
But
When you say assistant, do you
I
mean
need to
Chat
be more
GPT
disciplined.
or is there a human?
A human.
Okay.
ChatGPT is okay. I've used it and like extracted a line here or there, but
Ah,
it doesn't have soul. There obviously,
yeah.
but it's not it can't replicate what I need it for.
Well, and
It's great. I think it's an amazing tool. I think it's going to change the world and all of the other things that AI is having is it's a moment, but it just can't do it.
I think you and I have had this conversation privately, but I would love to just kind of like
Yeah.
have it here too, which is I think when it was in the visual arts, like it gave me an opportunity to create in a way that I can't normally. But then once it started coming into my world of like writing and like uh uh things began to change a little bit. Now we've got video and deep fakes and it's only going to go more interesting places. But there's no art in it.
Yeah. There's no art, then that's, I mean, if I was just churning out marketing copy or just needed like standard shit, like ChatGPT is great and it can have some personality, but it just will never replicate the kind of writing that I enjoy. And
Mm.
for that reason, I'm out.
Yep. And that's why I also don't feel terribly offended by it because I think art will always live. I think the
It
human
will.
and the beauty and the way that we express, I don't think that can be replicated.
Yeah, I mean, when it first came out, I was like, "Oh, this is cool," and then I was immediately threatened by it. Well, I was like, "Well, then what? What's the point? Like, why would I ever write another book? Everyone's just gonna think that it's Chat GPT and that I'm like using all of these robots. Like, what is the point?"
Yep.
And then I started using it more, and I was like, "Oh, I'm good."
I keep getting an email from
Nope.
one person, and it really says something like from my website that is like, I really like the way that you blah, 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 blah. And I'm fascinated by blah, 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 where he's just extracted it from some online
Yeah.
bio of mine. But I've gotten an email from him 4 times that is always like this. And I'm like, brah, like,
Come on,
you
bruh.
don't get, you don't land in the lap of a fucking priestess with like a chat GPT introduction. I don't, I'm really
No.
impressed by it. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you're.
I mean, it's obvious. Like even when Celica, my assistant, uses Chat GPT, I'm like, this is great, like as a whole, but I can see what's you and I can see what's not, you know? And
Interesting.
it's nice to have that supplementation or to use it for a little inspiration, be like, oh yeah, okay, I'm gonna take that and then like build upon it. Fine. But it'll never be able to replace the writer as a whole.
No, I saw Abby Jane Palmer, who is a colleague of ours here in Denver, and she asked ChatGPT, like, what's going to be going on with this, like, Neptune Aquarius change. I don't really know enough about astrology, also, sorry. But she asked, and so, like, she was reading it this morning on her live, and I was like, oh, that's so fucking good because it does give information surmised. Yeah, okay, okay. Uh,
Yeah, Ava was using it to, my coworker was using
yep.
it to decode her chart. So it can't do anything future predictions. So it can't
Wait
be
a
like,
second,
okay,
wait a second, what?
oh yeah, do this. She said she spent like an hour and a half doing this. She took her whole chart, aspects, degrees, the whole thing, and put it into ChatGPT for like a synopsis.
Huh.
And it knocked it out of the park, nailed it. But it can't do any future predictions. It's only up to 2022 or 21. So anything after that, it can't like write horoscopes for the next year or whatever, but it can use astrology knowledge that's already there, especially in the past and the 70s and 80s, if you want to look at your chart. Super cool.
Yeah. I have thought about using it, and I also told Morgan this, and I'm telling y'all this publicly too. I wouldn't put any of the Egyptian stuff, like, I wouldn't want my brain going into that in order to populate it that way. And I could already be fucked because I keep a lot of stuff on that Google Drive. But,
I don't know if it pulls from Google Drive. It might only
I
be
mean, who knows what they're
public.
telling us is true or not either, right? That's all.
Well, the interesting thing is like, when you have a Google Drive link and you're like, I want to share this with someone, and it's only with the link or like available to anyone,
Yep.
that may be where it could grab it. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to
Yeah.
see where this goes. It's going to change.
In the world.
Yeah.
What are you excited about? Do you have any travel plans?
We're going to go to Arizona for a while and we're going to Hawaii,
I don't
which
know
I
that.
am
I haven't heard that
very,
one yet.
this just happened. So we were supposed to go for our honeymoon,
Oh, can we
but
talk
that
about
moved.
that honeymoon wedding that wasn't? Because Morgan, I'm going to keep coming back to this common thread today, which is resilience. And so you had a 2020 wedding planned.
In June on the solstice, of
Uh
course,
huh. Uh
as a
huh.
witch does.
I
So
had a
yeah,
fucking smoking outfit. FYI, like, you still haven't even gotten to see that. I'm sure I didn't even fit into it.
girl, same. I had also a smoking outfit that no one has seen.
Nope.
So yeah, our wedding was scheduled for solstice 2020 and we canceled it April once everything was signed, sealed, delivered, planned, invitations out, flights booked, the whole thing. So obviously the wedding got canceled, and instead Haynes and I, my husband, got to do what we really actually wanted to do in the first place. And then wedding planning, we just got so far away from everything that we said that we weren't going to do. And we had our own ceremony because you can self-solemnize in Colorado naked in our closet. We wrote our own vows. We read them to each other. We cried. We pulled cards. We lit candles. We made a little spell candle vessel with flower petals from the day and wax and some agua de florida and some crystals. And that now sits on our mantle. And that was my wedding day. I have not one photo.
No naked selfies in the closet?
I mean, naked selfies, yes, but nothing that I can frame and put anywhere. Plenty of naked things happening, but
And you said self-sodomize? I don't think you said self-sodomize.
self-solemnize. Marry yourself.
No, I have not heard that word before.
I mean,
So,
you can self-sodomize if you want to. Just stick it on up there. Use
doesn't sound
plenty
like
of
the wedding
lube,
that I
though.
want.
Astroglide, babes. Astroglide.
Where
It's just
do
butt
you...
stuff. They gave it such a terrible name. It's just butt stuff.
It's just butt stuff, yeah, and butts are awesome. Thanks.
Butts are awesome.
Where do you get your resilience from?
I don't know, because I was a fucking baby when I was little. Like, baby. It's India. It has to be India because nothing else makes sense.
Oh wait,
I
you were
would
saying you were a baby.
crumble.
Hold on. So you're saying you were a baby when you're little, as if like you didn't have this resilience and like, boo, 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 boo.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I guess no, that's not true.
Yeah, thanks. I don't know how it could, like,
I mean, there were times where I was just like, yeah, I just don't give a fuck. We moved around a lot when I was little. We went to a bunch of different schools, different houses,
were you
and
shy?
no,
Okay.
no, not shy, but also not like the center of attention, but like no problem making friends. But my sister did have problem making friends, and she would come home really upset. And I was like, why is it so hard for you? Why don't you just like do it? And so I think there was always this grind in me,
Hmm.
that I just pushed through really hard stuff, but I never recognized it or owned it or made it the center and core of my personality until India.
Yeah, because your medicine is like no one's that I know. There's no one in this world who I light up the same way with as I do with you.
Get giggly.
We get giggly. Thank you. We get a little bit giggly. We also go pretty deep, but there's also like we are both filled by
Yeah.
time together in a way
Yes.
that I don't have with everybody.
Oh, yeah. Most people, I'm like, I need a nap.
I'm not.
You're welcome. And you're welcome because like now I am drained. So you are clearly not because I just filled your tank up.
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't hang out with people who drain me. So I have got. I don't hang out with a ton of people. So whenever I do, it has to be that. But that being said, no, you and I, girl, we got something special that
I know,
just
it's really
feels
fun.
so good anytime it's together, and it's like, bam.
We're
Uh,
like high afterwards.
we are high afterwards.
Sometimes we're actually high.
Sometimes literally. Yeah, I was like tequila, weed. Um, I am currently on
Sometimes not.
of gluten, sugar, dairy. I have not smoked weed. I'm just doing edibles and not even edibles that much. So there's a mega transformation that's happening over here. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
It's really
all
nice, right?
it's all by choice. Yeah. How was your sobriety? I know that you took quite a few months this year.
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, the majority of last year I didn't drink. I wasn't sober, but I didn't drink. I was microdosing LSD, which was beautiful. I was microdosing mushrooms.
Wait, I don't know about a microdose of LSD. Like you cut up. How would you even have the scissors to cut up a tiny, tiny little tab? Or are you doing
Well,
liquid?
it was liquid. I had this little dropper. It looked like this, like just a dropper of it.
Okay. So you just lick it.
Yeah, you just drop. I mean, just a few drops, and it was really nice. I had to go to two bachelorette parties, two weddings, one of which I officiated, stone cold sober. And these were with friends that I typically drink a lot with. And so I was like, how in the fuck am I going to do this? And it was fine. It was the most liberating thing to be in such binge drinking social situations that and I wasn't like judging the whole time. I had a blast, but it was just, I accessed a different part of myself that I was always afraid didn't exist because I always thought that I had to have a drink or two or 12. And I experienced profound joy without it. And it was fine. And I accessed this part of me that was like, girl, you are a silly bitch. You always thought you needed this. And like, look at what you're capable of without it. Look how much fun you can have. Look how much more you are without this. And so, I mean, even still, like I'm not drinking. I've had a drink here and there since surgery in December, but my body's like,
Mm-mm.
let's not. I'm not really having any weed anymore. I mean, not even edibles, which
Oh, I
is
don't know
nice.
that. Okay. Look how much. It hasn't even been a month since we have seen each other. So, like, just
No,
y'all, things are changing real fucking fast.
real
Is
fast. I did grind up a shitload of mushrooms and I've just been dibble dabbling here
okay.
and there a couple times a week.
I took a little
But
microdose last week. Perfectly appropriate for my motherhood. Daughter was at school. They don't kick in. They don't kick in all fucking day. I pick her up from school. They kick in, and I'm like,
oh, you know what? I have a theory about this. It's because you have something to bounce off of. When you're alone and microdosing, you could be tripping balls. Well, not really. You're not tripping balls with
no,
microdosing, but you could be in this state and just not know it because you don't have anything to bounce off of. Because that's happened to me too, where I've been like, oh, I'm good. Like that was
yeah,
a perfect microdose. Like I don't, because you don't want to feel anything, right?
yeah.
This is the purpose of microdosing. You're not tripping. There's no
Damn.
feeling really. But then sometimes you have something else to bounce off of, and you're like, oh, wait.
So I got to teach McKenna a thing or two. She's like, "Do I need to drive?" And I'm like, "No, no, no. I feel perfectly capable of driving because it was a microdose." And I think I also got to model her to her like, drugs are bad. Like drugs are not that bad. Drugs are fucking awesome. And you know how to hold your shit on them and don't do them
Yeah, you
until you
also don't
figure
need
it out.
to eat a handful of shrooms to try them. Like we grew up in high school thinking if you didn't eat an eighth, you weren't doing it right. And
It
now I have like a nibble of a cap and a nibble of a stem, and I'm like, this is
This is
perfect.
amazing. You
Yeah.
grew up in Arizona, is that right? Texas?
Yeah.
Where were you?
Both. Texas until I was 11 and then Arizona after that.
Did you have those mushroom days where the mushrooms would grow on horse shit and you would go after school and pick them?
No.
That
No.
was my high school experience until the
That's
farmers got
lovely.
wise and began to spray things. But we would like walk through the field after school and it would be, we were not the jocks. Let's just say that we were the creative ones. We were,
Uh-huh.
we would, we would kind of go like single file line, like we were trying to like find a lost child in the woods. We would pick them in grocery bags. We would bring them home and they would be all like wet.
It is technically a search party.
It was a search party.
Yeah, that's fine.
And somehow we always did it where it tasted like Jolly Ranchers. I don't remember. I don't think it needs.
Ooh.
No, no. I don't think it needs to taste like Jolly Ranchers.
I like the taste of mushrooms. I
Do
don't I
you?
don't see what the big deal is about.
Okay.
Yeah.
But these were wet out of shit, Morgan. Like,
Yeah, no, that's yeah,
yeah,
no. Right.
yeah. Like, don't cover that. I know exactly where I picked them from. Don't act like they're fancy. But it was also free.
Yeah.
Like, what a cool resource to have
I
for
mean, they
kids.
are free.
They are free.
Like technically,
Free. I haven't
you
paid
don't
for any
have to
very
buy
long
them from
time.
anyone.
No.
Yeah.
We're very fortunate here. Let me also just speak to anyone who has or chooses not to. We live in a city where it is decriminalized, which we are very fortunate in because thank you, Denver. So we are not allowed to sell them. We are allowed to have them and use them.
Mhm.
And
And
then,
trade them,
are you allowed to? That's okay.
give them,
Oh, that's so.
gift them.
I am.
I
I
think,
am
I don't
blessed.
know. Don't
Yeah.
come for me, Denver, but like I think you have more important things to do
We
than
have more important things to do. But yeah, I'm just saying, like, I think it's a very nebulous area of like, we don't know how you're getting them, but if you have them, it's okay.
yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It's been beautiful. I have loved this journey of being sober and liking it and not caring and just really advocating for myself in it because of course my friends are like so supportive, but there's times when I want to slip and be like, I'll just have one drink. And people are like, girl, no, like you're not doing that right now. And I'm like, okay, you're right. You're
That
right.
sounds
I'm not.
beautiful.
But it's just
Officiating the ceremony, how is that?
yeah. Um the ceremony of what?
The wedding. You officiated a wedding this summer.
Oh, officiating.
Mhm.
It was beautiful. I was sweaty as I am, but it was beautiful. I mean, I fucking killed it and I was
Did you have a
so
skeleton for that, or did you
nervous.
have a bit more
Oh
knowing
no,
what you were going to do?
verbatim. Yeah. I had a verbatim. I had this really cool leather bound book that I
Love
got
it.
made for them on Etsy, and I just had the pages in there. But yeah, this was not something that I wanted to like, let's fuck around and find out.
Mhm.
So it was beautiful. I mean, they gave me a lot of creative freedom, which is really nice. They told me exactly what they wanted, which made it really easy. I couldn't have gone better. And I had, of course, these ridiculous mistakes where I got my words jumbled up. And so instead of saying, John, please put the ring on Janae's finger, I said, please put your finger. And the crowd loved it. I mean, that was gangbusters. This guy came up to me later and was like, I'm officiating a wedding next month and I'm going to use that line. I was like, I didn't mean to do that. And he was like, but it was so funny. And I did it for each of them. I fucked it up twice.
Great.
So, it wasn't perfect, but it was perfectly imperfect. And I think if it was rigid and like, you know, went exactly according to plan, it wouldn't have been as exciting. But it was great. I was really proud of myself. And I don't know if we tell ourselves that enough, but when you do something cool, look in the mirror and be like, hey, I'm really proud of you. It was really
We
good.
we finished Joy is Your Destiny last night, so we had our closing ceremony with that as well. And
Mhm.
it's so funny because I kept wanting to call it Cosmic Collective Blast Off, and they're like, no, 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 like that phrase is already like used somewhere else. We aren't using that. But in that same way, like the thing that kept coming through is like you have not celebrated enough what you
Mm.
have done and what you have survived, and no humans. So we're told. Let me just say that too. No humans have done what we are doing right now and traversed it, and especially like these fucking solar flares, like, no joke. I don't even know what the fuck a solar flare is, but I can tell you that it knocks me on my ass every once in a while. What
Yeah.
in the world?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, people haven't done what we're doing like this. There was never internet when we were gathering in the ways that we are gathering now. And
No.
it's different.
Well, and our consciousness also is at such a degree, too, that we're able to traverse more, we're able to access more. And
Mhm.
yeah, to be able to have communities. I've got a small, well, I've got a couple of communities, but one of mine is a small community of about 9 of us that have been working together for 3 years.
Mhm.
4 of them are meeting today in New York City for the
I
first time.
love
And
that.
so I'm having like, they are together in physical space. I am getting like ping back of like, I can feel what they're doing. And I'm like, what is this? It's really cool. It's really
There's so much that we are capable of that we just don't tap into.
Speaking of tapping into, is there anything that you are still curious about in this metaphysical witchy world that you haven't played with yet?
I'd love to teleport. That'd be dope.
I was certain during 2020 that teleportation was on the other side of the pandemic. I was
Oh,
really
I teleported
sure.
during 2020 for
I
sure.
was really sure that like all of that was happening so that we could like get to teleportation and
Yeah, no, teleporting would be really fucking rad. I don't know, just yes, there's so much, of course. There's so much. There's so much that I don't do or have or am yet. And um every time that I touch a new precipice and reach a new ceiling, I'm immediately aware of what else is out there. It's
yeah.
like when you get to the top of the mountain for so long, all you can see is from yourself to the peak. And sometimes you can't even see the peak. And then you get up there and you're like, holy shit,
Oh fuck.
look at that one and look at that one and look at that one. So it's like the more that you experience, there's even more than that to experience, and the less that you know, because that's only one piece. It's a snowflake on the iceberg, and you realize that there's so much more, and that as humans we're so capable of understanding this, and it just takes desire and intention, right? But it's, yeah, there's so fucking much that I want to do and experience.
I love your answer though. Like, come the fuck on.
Teleporting is on the top. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great. Um, I've been having the experience lately of like what I've been calling an eye upgrade. My daughter calls it an obvious downgrade, and I'm like, stop it! Stop it! We are upgrading. And the messages that I've gotten, and this is since the throat chakra has been discovered in the Egypt pyramid, the Great Pyramid, about a month ago. They discovered the new
I
chamber
didn't
in there.
know.
I'm being affected physically in ways that seem to correlate, but they're saying with the eyes, like, you don't need to see this world, you now need to see the new world. And so I've had experiences in shamanic journey and like in visiting and going to places where all of a sudden they're like, wrong eyes, put on the right ones. And then it's like, poof, just like you said, where I'm seeing like Tron type of thing. I am seeing everything that is lit up on the galactic levels where I'm like, oh shit. And that's a pretty cool. We get the new pieces and we're like, what am I don't even know how to use this yet.
No, it's like trying on something where you're like, does this suit me? Do I look good in this? Can I pull this off? And then you go out in the world and people are like, damn. Fuck yeah, you can.
More of that. More of that. Anything else you want to share with us, Morgan?
I fucking love you. It's funny how we have talked about this for so long and then it's just like effortless. Like, how about today? Like, sure. I got time.
And thank you. My other guest wasn't able to be here today, and I'm like, Morgan. But it wasn't because of the cancellation. I really like in my episode notes, I have like 4 ideas of what I wanted to talk to you about for years. One of them being spiritual integrity. I'm like, we don't even need to do that. We're good. We don't need to have that conversation anymore.
We got it. Those who aren't, they're being called out.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Thanks.
Thank you.
More than thanks for being here, like you are one of those people that I rely on and one of those people who solidly not only shows up but adds to my life all the time too. Thanks.
I love you. Thank you for the reflection of resilience.
It was it was like literally it was the last thing on my sheet, but as I was walking in here, like it was just like fucking Vegas flashing lights and they're like, this is the thing. Like this is the oh, okay, not all these other things that I had.
I will say, like, yes, it is important to be resilient, but I also want to be in a place where I don't have to be so much, where it is easier. However, I don't know that that's the life I've chosen, given how things have unfolded since I was born. But, you know, loss and grief are just happening in the same heartbeat as joy and love, and I think that's just the way.
It's the way. And you come at it with such love and such presence and such optimism and such giggle right there. Yeah, like that even in the hardest of it, and I've talked to you in the hardest of it, you still have this fucking silver lining where I'm like, God damn.
And it's like, I don't see that though. It just is for me. And it's so nice to be reminded of that though, because it reminds me that I can do that on the days that I don't feel like that's capable, that's available to me, you know?
I get it in every way. I'm always here to reflect you back to you. I love you.